This podcast is a production of Widener Law Commonwealth in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. For more information, visit commonwealthlaw.widener.edu/podcast.
First impressions are lasting. Another person's opinion of you is inextricably linked to whether they find you to be trustworthy and likable or not. These snap judgments are human nature, being formed in the amygdala, a part of the brain's limbic system, which evaluates whether each person, animal, or situation that a human being comes into contact with is a threat. In 2019, we are constantly making first impressions to people both in real life and on the internet. How other people perceive us is based on many different things, like how we look, our body language, and the activities in which we engage. For the average law student in a competitive job market, making a good first impression obviously can be the difference between being hired and being rejected. This also holds true in law school proper, as you attempt to create personal and professional relationships with your classmates and professors. We are taught as children not to judge a book by its cover, but the sole reason that books have covers to begin with is to convince customers to purchase the book, therefore judging whether it's worth purchasing or not. Every time you post to social media or get dressed to go to class or an internship, you are designing your book's cover. So, how do you want your book's cover to look? Today, we have several guests who will help us learn how to put our best foot forward and make a good first impression. First, Matt Bugley, a 3L at Widener Law Commonwealth, will teach us how to curate our social media pages to best promote ourselves as aspiring officers of the court. Later, Deanna Wagner and Eric Heroes, two second years at Widener Law Commonwealth, will be giving us advice on what to wear to class to look both fashionable and respectable. Come learn with us, and we hope we make a good first impression on this first episode of Things I Wish I Knew. My name is Jonathan Nace. I'm a second year law student at Widener Law Commonwealth, located in beautiful Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Not only the capital of the Commonwealth, but I think the most beautiful city in the entire state. Joining me is my co-host, one of two co-hosts, but only one on this interview, Connor Behrend. Connor, how are you doing?
Good afternoon, John. I'm doing well today.
Yeah, Connor, you're a second year. You're in class with me. Where are you from?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm from a little island in the south of Georgia called St. Simon's Island, more historically known as Jekyll Island, which is right across the Sound. More people know, familiar with Jekyll Island.
Okay. And where did you go to undergrad?
I went to Presbyterian College in Clinton, South Carolina, formerly known as the smallest Division I school in the nation.
So how many students were in your graduating class?
Graduating class, I want to say there's about 180 of us. I think we float right at about a little under 1,000 kids.
Okay, yeah. I'm from Masontown, Pennsylvania, myself, and I went to St. Vincent College, which is another small school in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Yeah. And so I think that's part of the reason why I came to Widener, because Widener is comparably small law school as well. I agree. Yeah, it was a big attractive part of it for me. Yeah, it's nice, it's comfortable, you get to know everyone, or at least know of everyone, and it's a comfortable place. It's right in my comfort zone. Yeah, 100% agree. Yeah. So we met last year. I'm really happy that you agreed to be my co-host for this, because you are just so quick-witted and you know exactly what questions to ask, and this is just going to be a great time, I think. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah. Excited to get underway here with Mr. Matt Bugley in a minute. Yeah, Mr. Matt Bugley, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing really well. So let's introduce you to the audience for a little bit. You're a 3L at Widener.
Yes, I am.
And you're from nearby Cumberland County.
Actually, I'm not. I'm from Cambria County.
Cambria.
Yes, which is about 3 hours from Harrisburg, between State College and Pittsburgh. And when you come to the Harrisburg area from Cambria County, it is like a major city. And everybody from Philadelphia and Pittsburgh comes here and says, "Look at all the farmland." But I come here and say, "Oh my gosh, I am in the big city."
So is that over by Altoona?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, no, I had the same exact feeling when I came to Harrisburg, because Masontown is an old Coke Town, coal and coke, and there hasn't been a mine open since the 60s. So, like, I grew up with it being just like 1,000 people and nothing goes on there.
Oh yeah, and being interested in politics, this is the best place in the state to be.
It really is. It really is, because you get so many opportunities. Like, you're working right now. Who do you work for?
I'm actually working on several campaigns in Cumberland County. 2019, it's municipal elections, so Court of Common Pleas, District Attorney, County Treasurer, and County Commissioners are all up. So I'm lending a lot of my time and working for them over in Cumberland County, trying to get some really good people elected.
Yeah, and you also, is it an externship or an internship?
Yeah, this past summer I was in the Dauphin County District Attorney's office, and for a year prior to that, I was with Judge John Cherry. He's of the Court of Common Pleas here in Dauphin County, just probably one of the best trial judges in Pennsylvania. Such a great experience to learn from him.
Well, it's good. And now we have a great opportunity to learn a bit from you, because for those of you who don't know, I've been friends with Matt now for about a year and some change, and this man has the best Instagram that I have ever seen to promote yourself as a young professional.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Like everything that you put on there is perfectly set up just to like not only make you look good, but make you look respectable. Like, I'm going to tell this story. I don't know if you remember this or not, but for context, Matt and I are both 24 years old. I was born in March of 95, and he was born in May. He is a year ahead of me in school because I took a year in between undergrad and law school before coming here. And one day we were talking, and I just told him, you know what, Matt, I want to be you when I grow up.
I was so honored when you said that. And I want to be John Nace when I grow up.
Yeah.
Because you are just such a great guy.
Well, that's the thing, is like, I'm older than you, and I want to be you when I grow up, because you just have such an air to you that just makes you seem so dignified.
Well, I really appreciate that. I do have to say this, and since the topic is about creating a good social media presence, I think the important thing to remember is that when you're in law school, you are representative not just of the school, but you're representative of the entire legal community. I go to events with the Dauphin County Bar Association, soon to be joining the Cumberland County Bar Association, and you're around lawyers of all different ages. And when you put yourself out there in such a field in which it's so important to have your name and have a good reputation, having a good social media presence is probably the best thing that you can have.
Yeah. So let's get into this. What platforms do you use?
I use Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Twitter, not so much. Facebook, probably every other day, if not every day. And Instagram, pretty regularly. However, with all the posting that I do, I have to say, a good friend of mine once told me, she said, too much time in the spotlight fades the suit. So if you're posting every day, maybe that's a little bit too much, although I do have to say, a good friend of mine, her mother actually said to her, she said, I haven't seen Matt post anything for about 2 weeks. I hope he's feeling all right. And so I had to, of course, post something after that. But like I said, I use those three platforms. Twitter, I mostly go on and read a lot of what's going on. I don't necessarily post on there, but more so Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah. What platforms do you use, Connor?
Yeah, same as Matt. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I don't post as much, I think, as Matt. Honestly, my life's not as interesting as his to post about. I also use LinkedIn. I think it's another social media. LinkedIn's a kind of a Twitter. It's turned into a Twitter type of platform.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it counts. Yeah.
Yeah, LinkedIn is awesome at putting your resume out there, connecting with people in the community. That's one platform. I made one a while ago, and I really should update it and put some more on my LinkedIn profile. I really need to use that more often.
Yes. And there's also a Simplicity, which is kind of a LinkedIn that's only for the legal community. Is that
That's
fair?
correct, yeah. And that's a platform for law students and recent graduates to go on and see places that are hiring, and also places that are looking maybe for an intern throughout the course of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so many, like, I got rid of Twitter because it was a bit of a distraction for me. Like, I would just fall down that rabbit hole.
It really is.
And I had to choose between Twitter and Instagram. And for me, Instagram, there's only so many pictures that you can go through before you've hit something that you've already seen. And so it's just less of a time suck.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, nowadays, too, you're getting into all the directed ads at your Instagram. You're thinking, man, I really want Chipotle for lunch. And you're talking to your buddy, then next you're scrolling through Instagram, Chipotle, free delivery on Sunday.
It's almost scary. Yeah.
It is. They're getting to know us so well. Like, I just got a cat, and all of my Hulu ads are for cat food. Every single one is either Friskies or Purina.
Oh,
it's
wow.
ridiculous. Okay, so as far as posting goes, what activities are the best opportunities to take a photo for Instagram?
I typically always post when I go to something that's an interesting event, something that maybe either the school sponsors, or I'll give you an example. This week I'm going to an event at the Bar Association. It's a continuing legal education class taught by one of our Superior Court judges. So I'll probably post there. I just want to always share what I'm doing, what I learned. Every day I try and either meet someone new or learn something new or go somewhere new. And so that's what I always like to share on Facebook or on Instagram. But I will say this, I will also post on the weekends. I think it's important to show that you're human too, that you want to have fun. But you, of course, have to do it within appropriate confines. And so I go to a hunting camp and I post pictures there sitting by the fire, and because everybody respects that. Everybody respects that you're not going to live in a suit. You're not going to always live. People are human. Lawyers are human.
Yeah, and that's true, and it's kind of, I feel like it's easy to lose your humanity a little bit because we work. I mean, we put in like 12 hours a day into studying. I feel like, and then extra time doing internships or whatever else that we need to do. It can be easy to lose yourself in the suit.
It is, yeah, and social media has been such a great platform for me. I came to this area 2 years ago. I didn't know a single person. And through my internship with Dauphin County Courts and then through the District Attorney's Office, I got to know a lot of lawyers. But what I would always do is I would follow up with them, and I would either send them a request on Facebook after I met them a few times, or they would even maybe send me a request, and it would pop up as people you may know. And from there, you not only get to know somebody's name, but you see what they're up to. I'll give you an example. Yep. When I left to come here to law school, I had interned on and off for about 4 years with an attorney back in Cambria County. And so I had added one of our judges from Cambria County on Facebook. And I forgot that I had even added him on Facebook because he never posts anything. Well, about a year after my first year, I went back to Cambria County, and I ran into him at the hall of the courthouse. And he said, "Oh, Matt," he said, "I see you on Facebook all the time. How's everything?" And it's one of those things where I thought he probably didn't even remember my name. Well, not only did he remember my name, but he remembered what I had been up to, and then I was going to Widener, and there's somebody at the top of the legal profession. So Facebook really has just been awesome in getting my name out there, showing what you're made of, showing that you are a passionate person about a particular issue, and I think it's just been great.
Yeah, it's a great networking tool. That's why they call it the social network.
It really is.
All right, Matt, we're going to play a little bit of a game here.
Okay.
And Connor and I are going to give you a few scenarios, and you just tell us if it is an activity that you would advise posting from or not. Okay. So I'm going to start with one. 4th of July picnic with your family.
Absolutely. And I'll give a quick follow-up story to that. This 4th of July, I posted a picture. I had a couple people over by the pool, and I posted a picture. And most of my pictures, I'm always in a suit and tie. But I posted a nice picture, and it was me in these sort of short jean shorts. And so I
took that picture.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
That's right. So I posted that picture, and it was just a fun, happy 4th of July. And it was the farthest thing from a courthouse picture with a suit and tie on. However, when I went back and looked at who liked the picture, I had 3 state senators, 2 district attorneys, a state representative, and the 2 candidates that are running on the Republican side for Superior Court. They all either liked or commented on it. So even though it was a fun, fun, lighthearted picture. It's something that it wasn't inappropriate at all, and it shows that there's a lighter side to you, and it shows that you're human. So to your hypothetical, absolutely. Put a nice picture out there of you and your family.
All right, we'll stick on 4th of July. 4th of July, you're on the beach. You're sitting in your chair. You've had a couple Coronas. Your buddy comes over, he throws you a beer, and he wants you to shotgun it with you and take a video and then post it to whatever platform. You proceed to shotgun the beer. You got it all on video. Do you post it?
I personally would not.
Okay.
First of all, there's probably some prohibition, depending on what beach you went to, there's probably some prohibition about maybe drinking on a beach, as fun as it sounds. But it's one of those things where it may be perfectly fine, it may be perfectly legal, but it doesn't show you in the most favorable light. I will say that there's a lot of things that people may perceive as damaging or in a negative way, but other people see as perfectly fine. And I know one of the biggest things are hunting pictures or pictures with perfectly legal hunting rifles.
Yeah.
It's such a polarized discussion that we are having in this country about a lot of hot topic issues. So something that half the country might say is perfectly fine, the other half might say, that's a little inappropriate.
Yeah, so you have to be careful and know your audience.
Yeah, and so as much fun as it may be to do that, I maybe wouldn't post that on Facebook, because the test that I always use when I think of whether I should post on Facebook is, now I'm involved in local politics, and so doing that, you are always, when you about a month before the campaign, you want to send out mailers, okay? Some of the mailers might be negative attack ads. And one of the things that I always ask myself is, would I want this picture to be used by a future opponent 20 years from now if I'm running for district attorney or if I'm running for judge? I've seen good people have pictures taken from their Facebook and taken completely out of context, and their opponents edit it and doctor it up, and they put it on a flyer and they send it to thousands of people, and it makes them look like such a fool. And it's one of those things where it could have been avoided had that picture not been on Facebook.
Wow.
That's a great rule of thumb to have.
As an excellent one. Yeah, that's an excellent one to think about. And now, as far as Instagram goes, or even Twitter and Facebook, especially probably Facebook, because there's no character limit, what would you, how do you decide what to post as a caption with your pictures?
I always usually keep it really simple. One of the things that I never like to do is go on and on and on. I know after a big tragedy, people might go on and post a long and rambling post about a particular thing. And that's their right. This is a free country, and Facebook is a platform for everybody to use. So is Instagram and Twitter. However, I like to keep it simple, and I also like to refrain from polarizing comments on social media platforms. I'm friends with people across the entire political spectrum. So I'll give you an example. After one of the mass shootings not long ago, I posted a comment from one of my heroes, President Theodore Roosevelt, and it was a comment that he made, and it said, "This country won't be a good place for any of us to live in until it's a good place for all of us to live in." And it's something that Democrats and Republicans can agree on. Instead of going on and debating gun control or mental health, I try to use social media as a platform to say, let's bring us together a little bit. Let's all find common ground. And I think that's important, because one of the important things for law students is you're going to have potential future employers that are maybe differ from your political ideologies. So you don't want to alienate them by posting something. But obviously, though, it is a free country, and people should feel free to express their political beliefs in whatever way they see fit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, and we have the right. It's just how we exercise that right.
Right.
It's like, you don't talk about politics, religion, or the Cleveland Browns at the dinner table.
That's right.
So, and I think that's also because we are the first social media generation. I'm on almost 10 years of social media worth of stuff, and I don't know what's all in the backlogs. Because I got rid of my Twitter just because I couldn't remember what I retweeted.
Yeah.
So, and I retweeted a lot of political stuff too that I didn't want to alienate anyone. Potentially. So I just deleted my Twitter. Would you recommend just deleting and starting from scratch?
Potentially. I didn't. I think it is important, though, for people to maybe take a look back and see what they were posting maybe in junior high or high school, because people mature. And things that people may have posted years ago, you may look now and say, oh, that was potentially hurtful, or that could be interpreted in a negative way. And going back to what I said, we're entering a profession. I think lawyers in many ways hold society together. We are the people that everyone else comes to when they have a moment of crisis or a really consequential moment in their life. And so I think that's important to show that you are mature and show that you are serious about things. So I think it is important to maybe go back and take some of the pictures from college partying, maybe take them off and, or put it in a private album with just you and your friends and things like that.
Yeah, just generally clean it up,
Yeah.
make it more professional.
Yeah, and one of the other things, too, is having a good profile picture, because you want a profile picture in which when you send a request to somebody, maybe a future employer, they know exactly who it is. It's not one of those like, who is this? And I do know that some people that maybe want to have some anonymity in their Facebook, they maybe have their first and middle name, so it's a little bit harder to find people. I can tell you this, I worked in 2 district attorneys' offices. It is not that hard for people to find Facebook accounts, even with your first and middle name instead of your last name. So people need to be mindful of that.
Yeah, you're not that sneaky, just using your middle name.
That's right.
A lot of employers nowadays, I wouldn't say 100%, but a lot of them will have you sign a request to view your Facebook profile.
Typically, yeah. And that's one of the things. My dad owns a small business, and whenever he's going through the hiring process, the first thing my mom says is, I want their names, and she goes on Facebook, and I think she's better than some of the county detectives that I've worked with in the DA's office. She finds people, and actually my dad's business has declined to hire people based upon content on their social media page that my mother found to be very inappropriate, and so did my dad. And my dad said, this is not something that should be reflected in our business. And so that's one instance where social media can come back and haunt you in a negative way.
Yeah. And I mean, we live in a world too where it's not just, you don't control what videos or pictures of you go on, because the rest of the world has a camera on them at all times. So how would you what advice would you give to an first-year law student about making sure that they don't get caught in a compromising situation?
That's an important thing, because especially if you're out in public, you lose a lot of your rights with regard to privacy. So people can record you, and you really don't have too much recourse. I would just be mindful about people. One of the biggest things now is Snapchat. Snaps are sent out, and you might find it funny on a Saturday night, but then you wake up on Sunday and say, oh, maybe that wasn't all that funny. Or maybe somebody can take a screenshot of that, and then you know exactly who has the screenshot, and people are sharing the screenshot, and it really doesn't show you in a very positive light. So I would just be careful, and maybe if you do see a friend or someone at a party or another social gathering taking a snap, and you don't want that to get out there, maybe just say something like, hey, you may want to take that down, or could you please delete that? And 9 times out of 10, people will probably respect if you want something to be taken down.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair rule of thumb, because I feel like most people, if they really are your friend, they'll respect your wishes.
Oh yeah,
for that. So we've gone through some of the bad aspects of social media, but how can it be beneficial?
I think it's such a great tool. I'll give you an example. I was in court today. I met a new magistrate judge that I'd never met before, and after talking for a while, I said to her, are you on Facebook? She said, yes, send me a friend request. And especially since moving to this area 2 years ago, like I said, I didn't know a single person, but being on Facebook has gotten my name out, and the one thing I think a lot of law students realize after 3 years is the legal community in areas like Dauphin and Cumberland County is so small. Everybody knows everybody. The professors here routinely work with and appear with other legal professionals in our community. And so if you conduct yourself in a negative way here at the school, that can potentially get back to employers, because I remember it was Professor Hemingway that said, during the first year, she said, how you conduct yourself in the classroom. She said, we go to dinners and bar association events, and employers might say, oh, well, I got a resume and a cover letter from a student at Widener. Did you have this person? So I think it's very important to conduct yourself in that positive way. And one of the things I always do is if I meet a new lawyer and I talk to them for a little bit, I send them a Facebook request. I may send a message saying, hey, it was nice to meet you. And from there, people see what you're up to. They see that you are serious and passionate about, like for me, criminal law. I'm very passionate about being in the district attorney's office. And I'm also passionate about local politics, which is what I'm doing now in the fall. And so I think people respect that. And it gets your name out there. And because I always say the lawyer's key to success is a good reputation. Everybody else, every other field, reputation is important. But in the legal community, if you don't have a good reputation, then that's really detrimental.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was, but my professor for professional responsibility, Professor Davis, Bob Davis, who has a firm in Harrisburg. I'm trying to remember exactly how he said, but I'll just give you a rough estimation of it. He basically said, your reputation is earned in ounces and lost by pounds.
Oh, that's the best description of it. And actually, going back to what you were saying too about how it can be used in a positive light, one of the best things that I find it useful for is just the wealth of information that's at your fingertips. We live in an age now where if you're wondering about something, you can just pull it up instantaneously. And one of the things too, and this was during my first day of law school classes, it was property class with Professor Morangello. And she said, I'm on Twitter. Feel free, any of my students, to follow me on Twitter. She said, I won't follow anybody back. Don't worry, I won't creep on anybody's Twitter. But it's been a really useful tool because with that platform, she shares a lot of interesting articles that are relevant to things that we discussed in class. And she also shares a lot of things that she's active with the Bar Association or with other events that she goes to around the country. So I think that it's a really good tool that professors can use in showing their students, oh, remember when we talked about this, or this is relevant. I see Professor Morangello shares a lot of events that she goes to with Widener students. I saw there was an event last week that a number of Widener students represented the school really well. And she took a picture and she highlighted it on her Twitter account saying, this is some good things that are going on in our community with Widener law students.
Yeah, kind of going off that aspect of it, I think, what I've been doing more and more is using it for my own advantage. If I'm going into a situation where I'm either meeting a new friend, I got a new job with a coworker who I don't know, or I'm going in for an interview and I happen to know this man's name or her name, you can go on Facebook and you can see what they're about. You can see where they go to college, where are they from, who are you have in common with friends. That gives you a starting off point ahead of everybody else who didn't do that. You can see, oh, this guy's a fan of the Patriots. Okay, let me talk about the Patriots winning the Super Bowl last year. That's going to leave in their head, that employer's head, that, hey, this guy, he kind of left something here for me to remember you by.
Yeah.
I think that's advantageous too.
Yeah, and also too, if they have some views that are maybe against your views that you don't share, that's something that you know to avoid bringing up.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was saying too. It is important to maybe be very mindful that we are living in an age in which I think there's so much divisiveness. It used to be where you may not agree with somebody, but you at least respected their viewpoint. I think now it's becoming a little bit too toxic. And I do think it is important that people feel free to express what they feel passionate about. As for me, I don't like to comment about things that are happening in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Personally, not because I don't care, but personally, I'm more concerned with what's happening in Cumberland and Dauphin County and within the state governments. And it's also because I have a lot of friends that are on one side. I have a lot of friends that are on another side. And so I think it's important to respect everybody's opinions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that would go a long way with just interpersonal relationships, just getting to know people and staying on the right footing with others.
Exactly, because in these social settings that we've been in, I've known you guys now for going on 2 years, we might all be in a social setting and we might have people on one complete end of the political spectrum talking to somebody on the complete opposite end, and they're talking and they're laughing and they respect each other, and that gets lost in the national dialogue. And so I think that's important, that there is a lot of camaraderie among people, that really are respectful among people's beliefs.
Matt, I want to thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for having me on. This was fun.
Yeah, I mean, we have a good time here so far, and I mean, we have a beautiful little studio set up in the library of the Widener Law Commonwealth School building. It's perfectly set up. Miss Stephanie Ingerer, who's our engineer and our editor, set up this little space.
Thank you, Stephanie,
for the original Widener podcast, and now she's letting us use it. So this is exciting, and yeah. So. Good time, Connor. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me, John.
I look forward to many more discussions with you.
Those will be had.
Just thank you for coming in, and I'll see you around.
Thank you.
All right. It's now time for 5 minutes of unsolicited advice, where we go around the table and give our views and our experiences on topics that affect us all. Today's topic is sleep. I typically try to go to bed around 10:30 and wake up at 6:30 in order to make sure that I recharge with a good 8 hours of sleep and wake up early. Waking up early is a great opportunity to exercise or brief cases that you read the night before, and briefing cases in the morning is a great way to retain information going into class.
The worst thing you could do for yourself when trying to sleep is not being prepared for the class the day before, because you're sitting in that bed thinking, okay, I've got class with you. A professor's going to cold call you. I haven't read these cases yet. Class is at 9 a.m. Okay, I got 2 hours to read this. I got to get up at 6 a.m. What I try to get everything done the night before, and at least as far as I can, and then I'll be in this library till 9. I'll go home, take a breath, go to bed at 11. That way I actually get sleep, and I'm not worried about, I haven't read this case, what's going to happen, because it's just running in your mind at that point. And if you have a relaxed mind, you get better sleep, which has a more productive day the next day.
I actually agree with Connor on this one. For me, personally, when I was in college, I used to get maybe 4 hours of sleep, but these days, now I'm in law school, I have to keep my mind really secure, really focused. So what I do is I make sure that I'm relaxed. I take all my briefs I do in the day beforehand, and right when I'm about to go to sleep, I can feel a little bit more relaxed. It makes me go to sleep a little bit easier. And I make sure to get my 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours usually. I wake up, and if I have anything, I just, look over the briefs I wrote down last night once more. And it just helps me to refresh my mind to keep going for the next day.
And welcome back. For the listener at home, being a law student is so much work, and our schedules are so hectic.
Ain't that the truth?
Yes. That I need a second co-host because Connor can't be at every episode. So thankfully, my friend Mark Uriarte,
Uriarte. But yeah, close enough. Okay. You got it.
Has agreed to be my second co-host. So for the remainder of however many episodes we end up doing of Things I Wish I Knew, Mark will be joining me for the second half of these episodes. Mark, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well today. Autumn's slowly coming in, and it's getting a little bit colder outside, but putting up a nice effort to keep warm,
Are you a fan of the fall?
Actually, fall is my favorite season, as, generic as it is to say, but I guess everyone's favorite season is somewhat fall or, summerish. I don't think anyone really likes winter.
No, I love fall too. So let's introduce you to the audience. Mark, where are you from?
Well, originally I'm from Manhattan. I moved out a little bit later in my life to Nyack. It's like right out of Manhattan. It's 15 minutes away. I've been living there basically all my life. Then I went to college over at Seton Hall in New Jersey. And then for law school, I came out here right afterwards. So I guess I've been to 3 states that are pretty close to each other.
What did you major in undergrad?
I did English literature, English creative writing, computer science, and math.
Okay. So how did you get from computer science to law school?
You know, it's interesting because I didn't really think that I would, I guess, come here first, but something just, I guess, made me interested in the field of law. I guess it was the mixture of the English with the computer science. So it got me interested in this idea of intellectual property law. And from there, I just decided, you know what, I should go to law school while I'm young. I should go to law school, get it out of the way if I can, and start being an intellectual property lawyer.
All right.
I mean, hopefully, if everything goes right,
Very true, very true. So our guests for the second half of the podcast are Deanna Widener.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Good. And Eric Quiros.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Now you two are both second-year law students. You're in class with me and Mark.
Correct.
And we're making our way through, huh?
You could
Slowly.
say that.
Yeah, surviving.
Yes. So we asked you guys on here today to talk about what to wear to class, not only just to be fashionable, but also to kind of convey an air of respectability and, what is good to wear and what is kind of you should think twice before you put it on. And I asked you two because you both are impeccably well dressed. Like pretty much every day.
Thank you.
Like
Wow.
I don't think I've ever been told that by a male, but thanks.
I mean, you are.
You
Honestly,
deserve it, man.
You
You look nice.
like
It's
every.
the shoes.
I
Yeah,
guess.
it's the shoes, and he also wears these sweaters with like a button down shirt underneath them that are always very
Very
professional,
fall.
but also pretty casual at the same time. So it's like perfect to sit in class.
like blushing right now.
No, but yeah. So and you both have an interest in fashion law. Is that right?
Yes. I know I do.
So
I just like the industry as a whole, not in particular about fashion law, but just fashion in general.
yeah. All right. So Deanna, you attended a conference on this subject. It was for intellectual property in the field of fashion. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I actually went with Eric. We went to the Federal Bar Association's Fashion Law Conference in New York last February. And it was it was really great because when you tell a lot of people that you're interested in fashion law, they kind of give you this look. No one really knows what it is. And it's about the fashion industry and just all the different areas of the law that come into that. So, I mean, there were speakers on intellectual property and IP, which is what I'm particularly interested in for copyright, trademark, and trade dress. But, I mean, it varies all the way to immigration rights. And you're talking about these models that are from overseas, and it goes deeper to when you're looking at international laws and where the fabrics are being made and how they're being made and who's making them. So it was really interesting, and it was definitely a great opportunity to see, I don't know, just a different way that...
Different perspectives.
Yeah, the way that the law works within that industry. It was really cool.
Yeah, and you said the Federal Bar Association, that's an organization on Widener Law Commonwealth's campus. So you went through Widener Law Commonwealth to this conference?
I went through Paige Perucci, who was a Widener student.
Mm-hmm.
She just recently graduated. She was a 3L last year. But I just reached out to her and told her that I was interested in fashion law, and she had also been interested and said, I went to this last year if you want to come. And so we went through just the Federal Bar Association's website, really, not through Widener. But I mean, all my professors were really understanding when I said, hey, I'm not going to be in class on Friday because I'm going to be in New York at this conference.
How about you, Eric? Did you get the same way?
Well, I think Deanna kind of wrapped it up pretty well. I thought it was very interesting, kind of the different avenues that fashion law has, not just IP work, but like she said, it goes into immigration as well, not just one particular aspect of law. I think New York's a really diverse mega city, so I think I love it there. You know what I mean? So if you want to get different perspectives from different cultures, that's like the place to go.
Have you been considering New York after?
Yeah, actually, that's where I would like to end up once I graduate from law school. Hopefully, anyways.
Yeah.
Not for like fashion law in particular, but just because I love the ambiance it has to offer. So
A lot of people call it the greatest city in the world.
yeah, I think it is.
I mean, I know it is. I'm from there. I mean,
Slight bias.
Yeah. But yeah. So let's get into the real meat of this discussion, which is, if you're a first year student, you come in and you don't really know what you're doing. I know when I was taking my tour here, one of the questions my mom asked was, so does he have to wear a suit every day?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't think that's the case. But then I wasn't sure, so I asked our guide, wait, do I have to wear a suit every day?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, no, you just get to wear something casual. So that kind of leaves your decisions all the way up to you on how you present yourself to not only your classmates, but also to your professors. Typically, we're allowed to be pretty casual, so what would you wear on a normal day in class?
I would tell most people to just wear whatever you really want to wear.
Yeah.
There's nothing really out there that is limited in what you cannot wear as long as it's appropriate.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about wearing a suit to class, and I feel I can relate somewhat because there's, as a 1L, you sometimes are a little bit intimidated from the 2Ls or 3Ls that come in on campus, wearing a suit or, having briefcases, and it's like, oh, well, should I be doing that? Should I not be doing that? And as a 1L, you're mostly focused on your studies.
Yeah.
I know me, for me, when I wake up, I just kind of want to go to class comfortable.
Yeah.
There's not really anything in particular that I would say, oh, you should wear this or you shouldn't wear that. As long as you're comfortable, as long as you're cozy, as long as whatever works for you, that's honestly my best advice. You do want to keep it appropriate. I wouldn't wear anything too revealing. At the end of the day, this is a professional environment, and we definitely want to keep it to that standard.
Yeah. And I think when we talk about appropriate, it's not just about the length or the breadth of the clothes that we're wearing, but also kind of the colors too. Like if you're too bright, I feel like people won't take you seriously. Do you think that's true?
color psychology.
Not necessarily. I mean, I know me, I'm more of like an opaque color kind of guy. I don't really go into like transparent colors as far as like lime green or bright yellow or things like that. Kind of keep you just natural or just neutral.
Yeah,
Sorry.
neutral.
Neutral, yeah.
Yeah, or muted.
Yeah. So I would just say, wear honestly whatever you like. I mean, you're wearing right now a bright yellow shirt with some green, some purple.
Well,
jersey
that
on.
doesn't necessarily take away from the fact that you're a law student,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're all here to learn, but at the same time, it's not really dependent on what you're wearing.
Yeah.
Your intelligence isn't gonna depend on what you're wearing.
Yeah. For those of you listening at home, I'm wearing the same thing that I wear on every first day of fall. It's a movie quality Mighty Ducks jersey from the original Mighty Ducks. It's Charlie Conway, number 96. It's got the Captain C on the top left corner, so you can probably look that up to see what I'm wearing. But it's this is kind of like my favorite thing to wear, and I always get a lot of compliments on it, strangely, because people are just like, "Wait, is that from the Mighty Ducks?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's wow,
It
I forgot
has
that
a little
movie
bit
existed.
of historic look to it.
Yeah, it's got something. It's
Well, it's not an average piece,
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
usually come across
It's
something like
unique.
this. Yeah.
Yeah,
it
it's
was-
eye-catching.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
designed in 1992.
Makes you feel
People
good.
wear, football jerseys or baseball jerseys to class, but I'm pretty sure you're the only one who has a Mighty Ducks jersey. So
Yeah.
But you're not wearing that if a professional speaker comes in to talk to the class.
No.
no.
So Deanna, can you tell our listeners what to wear when a professional speaker does come into class?
nothing that you wouldn't want to wear to a future interview. And I really stick by that because, I mean, especially this field is so tight-knit and it's so small and you never know who you're going to run into and talk to and who they know. And that's really just how I feel about it, is especially if you know someone's coming in. If you know someone's coming in, I mean, I would make sure that you're wearing something that at least business casual. Because at the end of the day, hopefully you are going and talking to that person and you're making connections and you want that first impression that they have of you to be a good one. And really what you're wearing can set the tone right away. I mean, and we're talking about bright colors. Mm-hmm. I have a hot pink dress shirt. I'm not wearing it every time. Yeah. I mean, know your crowd too, right? Because, I mean, the judge that I externed for, Chief Magistrate Judge Susan E. Schwab, she came and gave her lecture on bail, and she wore a hot pink suit. And, I mean, she looked great, but she is also a federal judge, and I'm not on that level yet.
Yeah.
So.
And I think it's interesting the point that you make to be careful about the professional nature of our class, because every professor is a lawyer and they have friends in the community. They are going to be our references. So we really want to, especially when you first meet them, make sure that you put out a good first impression and show that you're taking this seriously, that this isn't something that you're just lightly going through, you know?
Mm-hmm. Speaking of internships and, clerkships and stuff like that, what would you wear for something like that?
I don't wear anything that I wouldn't be comfortable wearing in front of someone that might hire me, especially when you're in the federal courthouse, because, I mean, you have judges everywhere and you have these, United States attorneys and whatnot, and they're coming in and out of chambers, and you're going and watching court proceedings, and people talk and they talk to you, and it's a small atmosphere and everyone gets to know each other. And so, I mean, you want to look professional at all times.
Yeah. Now let's talk about a kind of a hot button topic. I think for some people, it's hats in the classroom.
Oh boy.
And I know some professors hate hats,
mm-hmm.
and some professors just don't care. But I wouldn't say that any professor likes you wearing a hat in their classroom. Is that fair?
I don't think I can speak personally on the hat subject, only because I'm not a hat person myself.
Me neither.
But my own opinion, I wouldn't wear a hat.
Yeah.
Definitely especially in the classroom, because like Deanna said, you just want to present yourself as professional, as a professional. So at the end of the day, it's kind of a little disrespectful, because professors sometimes put it on their syllabus, they don't appreciate it. I would just keep it away altogether.
Yeah. I remember in undergrad, so I went to St. Vincent College, which is it's a Catholic college, and it's mostly I'd say like 25% staffed by monks.
Interesting.
So I had a Latin class in my freshman year of undergrad with Father Paul Alexander, and Father Paul Alexander hated hats. But it was an 8 a.m. class, so I come in. So I wake up late one day, and I don't have time to do my hair or anything like that. So I just put a hat on and run to class, and I'm sitting in class with this backwards hat on my head. And Father Paul Alexander, he's walking around, he's taking attendance. He comes right behind me with his ruler, and he just knocks the hat off my head. He just goes underneath and just flips it off, and I had no clue what was going on, and I looked up at him, and he said, "There will be no hats in my classroom," and then he just walked away.
Wow.
So I don't think that's going to happen here, but I really learned my lessons. So before the start of every semester, I email each of my professors just to see how they feel about hats.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I feel like the further up in education you get, the less professors and teachers care about like the hat situation. Because like in high school, if you wear a hat, all the professors or teachers are just gonna yell at you. But when you get a little bit higher up, like in college, sometimes teachers don't care, professors don't care. But in law school, I feel like the only time it matters is if you have like specific professors, or like in your first week of law school, when in your first couple of days, like they'll point out the person who has like the hat maybe, and they'll ask them the question.
Yeah. Like we have one professor right now who acknowledges whoever's wearing a hat and says, so and so is wearing their thinking cap today, and then calls on them. So
you turn into a target. So another reason just to not wear a hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that goes back to being professional, right? Are you wearing a hat at your job?
Yeah, I would expect not, unless you have a home office.
And class is slightly different. I mean, sure, you can be like comfortable, but I think that just goes back to, I mean, these are going to be your references as well. So, I mean, if you know that a professor doesn't like you wearing hats, then why continue to show up in a hat?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Deanna, before we got on mic here, you were talking a bit about like wearing leggings. Now that's not a thing that I can identify with. So can you kind of explain what you were talking about with the danger of wearing leggings to class?
Sure. You can wear them, but I mean, pick your days. I will wear leggings to class from time to time in a sweatshirt or whatever. Or if I'm going to go to the gym after class, then that's totally fine. But maybe you shouldn't be wearing that every single day to class. I think there's something to be said about also just wearing something that's comfortable, but also you're in a school setting, and that's you're in a professional school setting especially. So leggings aren't the most professional thing that you could be wearing to class, and neither are jeans, but jeans are slightly better than leggings. Yeah. But I mean, pick your days. Like, I'm not going to wear leggings to class every day, every single week. Yeah. But sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're tired, and it's a Friday morning class, you know. So you want to put on those leggings.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like sweatpants too. I know once we're past Thanksgiving, like, I'm not wearing real pants for the rest of the semester probably.
I don't think I've ever worn sweatpants.
You never worn sweatpants to class?
To class, not even undergrad.
Eric's too fashionable.
No, I don't. It's just not my thing. I don't, Yeah. Like you said, sometimes it's appropriate when you go into the gym afterwards, but like, for me, I'd rather just go home and change. I don't know. That's just my...
Shorts and jeans.
That's just how I feel comfortable,
Yeah. How do you feel about shorts in class, though?
That's another thing I don't wear.
Really?
No, I don't wear shorts ever.
What about dress shorts?
Yeah, I wear dress shorts, but not to class.
Okay.
I would just wear it for, like, maybe a formal event outside or something like that. People who wear shorts to class, I don't really judge them, I don't think, as long as they're the appropriate length.
Yeah.
But for males, for the most part, they are. You don't have to worry about that.
There is definitely a professional length of shorts that you should be wearing, or skirts even. I mean, even when you're talking about if you're wearing a dress and a blazer, I mean, make sure that it's a professional length as well, because that's just something that you have to be cautious of. And I mean, even in the seats, if you're sitting in the front row, I mean, be aware of where you're sitting and how you're sitting and what you're doing. I mean, showing it's just not professional. I don't know how to, like, get around that. But, and especially, I mean, no, is it summer session? If it's summer classes, then okay, if you're wearing slightly shorter shorts or a shorter skirt, that's understandable, I guess. But, I mean, during the actual school year, when you have people coming in, and that just goes back again to, you never know who's coming in. I mean, we have judges that are professors here, and we have different lunch and learns through the CDO, where we have different lawyers and professionals that come in here and give talks, and they're looking around. Yeah, they're looking around. You want to talk to these people. Make sure that they want to talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and this just goes back to what Connor and I talked to Matt about, was first impressions are lasting, and they will follow you.
They will haunt you if you're.
Yeah, if they're a bad first impression, they'll haunt you.
You don't want that.
No, you really. I mean, yeah, it's something that you really want to make sure that you get on the right foot with every person that you meet around here, because you never know who you're going to be interviewing with, who you're going to be asking for a reference, who you're just going to need to, ask for a little bit of help after class too. Because, I mean, every professor here is very open and welcoming, and they will help you, but still, like, there could be this thing in the back of their mind, like, well, they don't really care so much, do they? But I mean, I want to try and help them, but there we go.
It's like a subconscious tick almost.
It really is. It really is, and that's something that we talked with Matt about. Is subconsciously, all of your first impressions are made in the amygdala within the first 10 seconds that you meet a person.
Mm-hmm.
It's all based on just your sensory reception of, is this person a threat? Is this person trustworthy? Would I, depend on this person if I needed to? And that's really one of the things that you show off with your social media, as we talked with Matt about, and also with how you dress in just a daily life.
Like, I'm sure you guys agree. Like the first week of school, maybe wearing a little bit more professional attire than the normal for you. You can be comfortable in the couple of weeks afterwards.
I think I wore business casual for the first 2.5 weeks, and other people had already switched to leggings, and I was just way too uncomfortable for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, definitely. And even at your orientation, making sure that you're dressing professionally and that you look good.
Yeah. And also, beyond clothes, also your hair can also say a lot about you, and even your facial hair.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, right now I have a beard, but that's because I haven't been around anyone who I haven't met before in the last week.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I might have an interview coming up soon, so I'm definitely going to shave for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go get a haircut too. Keep it clean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just get a.
Yeah, I can vouch for that too.
Yeah.
Whenever I get an interview, I just had one 2 weeks ago, and I never have facial hair on my face. I always try to keep my actual hair, in like a decent look, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For men, it's a little easier. For women, might be a little different. They wear their hair up, they wear their hair down. I'm not sure really what is considered professional for females. I don't know if Deanna wants to talk about that.
That's a
So,
good question.
I love a good high pony, but you're probably not wearing that to your interview. I feel like you can't go wrong with your hair down and know your hair. Obviously, you know your hair the best. But, I mean, if you play with your hair a lot, then you're probably going to want to put it back. You don't want it in your face. Like, I'll constantly play with my bangs like I'm doing now. Or just making sure that you don't have, like, a ton of flyaways. Because we keep going back to this, but, like, first impressions really matter. And the way that you look, especially within that atmosphere, and you saying, the first 10 seconds, well, you're going to look at them, you're going to think about all that stuff that you just said, and then you're going to look at what they're wearing and how they look and if that fits into the environment that they're seeing you in. And if you look like you're out of place, then you're going to think about that a little longer, and you probably don't want people to be thinking about you a little longer in that way.
That's the wrong way to stand out.
Yeah, the wrong way to stand out. So you can't go wrong with like low ponytails or like a low bun or a mid bun or just having your hair down and out of your face. I think that's totally acceptable.
Yeah. So now we did talk about the business casual just a little bit, but I do want to reiterate just for clarity, what would you guys wear to an interview? I know, Eric, you just said that you had an interview, so what did you wear that day?
Well, for males, I think it's maybe slightly easier, only because there's only so much you can wear. I would only wear either a black suit or a dark navy suit.
Okay.
Aside from that, I wouldn't wear anything like tan or red or...
Yeah. What about gray?
Gray, you know what? I've never been a fan of gray.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's appropriate or not. I think you just can't go wrong with black or dark blue,
yeah.
like a navy. You can't go wrong with it.
I
think what's really important is your tie.
Okay.
Because you definitely want to keep it at a neutral color for an interview. I used to wear ties that were kind of like an icebreaker.
Yeah.
Like people would ask me, "Oh, that's a nice tie. Got some flowers on it, or you got some kind of design on it."
Yeah.
But now that we're in a legal profession,
yeah.
I think it's just best if you keep it at a neutral color.
Yeah,
that matches the suit.
Yes. Can you define neutral color though, real fast?
Just matching your suit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like black or gray or
like a black tie with a black suit or a navy
yeah.
tie with a navy suit.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I've seen people wear yellow ties with navy suits, which is fine.
Yeah.
But that's just not my preference.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I normally go for like a dark blue, typically, or sometimes I'll put out a red, just in case. I kind of want to have a power tie going on.
Yeah. I just like to match my whole suit. I sometimes wear a 3-piece because I'm outside the box like that. But yeah, I have my vest matching the jacket, and the jacket matching the tie, and then the socks. Even the socks matter. You're not gonna wear bright red or bright pink socks.
Yes.
Oh no,
they're gonna stand out. I would just kind of keep it neutral.
Yeah.
Something that would kind of go with the suit as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm a huge socks guy. I love socks, especially these wild socks. Like, that's all I get for Christmas anymore because I don't know what to ask for.
Right.
So, like, I have this one pair of socks that's wolves howling at the moon. Like, that's definitely not something I'm trotting out.
Well,
for
I think that's fun. Wearing different kinds of socks is fun once you're
you're in there.
In the setting. But for the actual interview, you don't want to draw too much attention to pineapple socks or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Definitely don't want to wear something that's gonna leave a bad impression on you. Yeah. Just kind of keep it professional.
Yeah. And Deanna, for the ladies?
I think all of Eric's points were really, really great, and you just don't want to wear something that's gonna take away from your resume, because that's really supposed to be the star of your interviews, your resume and your qualifications and what you have to say. So you don't want them to be distracted by what you're wearing as to the fact that they're not going to pay attention to what you're saying. So, I mean, I would have to say, if you're already there for an interview, then obviously you've done a decent amount of research. So know your people that you're going into. I think it's safe to say that the legal community is kind of conservative. And so, I mean, for women, I would probably say to wear a matching skirt suit set, or to wear a dress with a blazer, I think is totally acceptable. I wouldn't be wearing power colors. I mean, I have like a royal blue and like an emerald green dress, and they're great, and I wear them sometimes to, my externship, but I'm not wearing them during my interview. So I agree with Eric. I would say probably like a navy or a black, especially to start off with.
Right.
I think you can't go wrong with that.
Once you're in, then it gets a little more...
It's a little easier.
Yeah, you can
it's a little more fun. But for me, fun is like a dark forest green or like a burgundy. Fun wouldn't be like a bright yellow or like pink. Like, I would never
neon
wear
green.
Neon green.
I have a vast variety, but like they're always...
No pink.
No, I mean, just no. Maybe more like a burgundy. I do a burgundy.
Yeah.
Maroon,
But yeah, I mean, like I was saying, I have a vast variety, but
yeah,
they're all like neutral colors, nothing too flashy.
Yeah.
I mean, I have several, but those are for like special occasions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one more question about ties real fast. Are bow ties a good idea?
For an interview?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Only because it's a little too different.
Yeah.
Might take away from the fact that it's an actual interview.
Yeah.
You're not there to talk about your bow tie.
Yeah.
You're there to talk about your qualifications and why you want to work there.
Yeah. Just keep your resume up front.
Right.
The thing that you want.
Yeah.
Them
That's
to
definitely
think
something that's going to cross by your employer's mind.
Yeah.
If you're wearing a bow tie, I would just kind of keep it casual with a regular tie.
That's about all I have. Mark, what do you think? Any last questions?
Honestly, I've been very surprised by this entire interview. I kind of stepped.
You've learned?
I've learned something.
Okay.
I kind of stepped in, not entirely sure what we were gonna get coming out of this, but I gotta say I was pleasantly surprised with the outcome of this.
Yeah.
I learned a couple of fashion tips, I think, is the best way to put it.
If you ever need help, just reach out.
Oh no, don't worry, man. Don't worry.
Or if any of our audience needs help.
Eric is here for you.
Yeah.
It'll be an advice column like Dear Abby's Dear Eric. So thank you two for coming on again. Thank you again.
It's been a pleasure, really.
Yeah. Thank you again to Matt Bugley for coming on the first half of this episode. Thank you to Connor and Mark, my excellent co-hosts. Thank you to Professor Amanda Schultes, who is our faculty supervisor. And thank you to Miss Stephanie Ingram, who is our engineer. She does all of the editing. Without her, none of this happens. Even our studio doesn't exist if it's not for her. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I look forward to coming back for this next episode and we'll see you then.
Widener University Commonwealth Law School is the Pennsylvania capital's only law school, with 3 specialized centers of legal scholarship through its Law and Government Institute, Environmental Law and Sustainability Center, and Business Advising Program. Widener Law Commonwealth offers an exceptional learning experience that is personal, practical, and professional. Visit commonwealthlaw.widener.edu for more information.